So, all you scared to death Negroes, just sit down. Don't you come out to defend our enemy. You sit down and you shut up and tell your master to come on out and deal with it.
I have the pleasure to introduce our next presenter, Dr. Mayyada Muhammad, and I will begin with a quote from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan stated, Elijah Muhammad said, give me one doctor, and from that, I'll get 100. Give me one nurse, and I'll make 100. Give me one engineer, I'll make 100. We don't need them. One word could be used to describe Dr. Mayyada Muhammad, resilient. The daughter of two hardworking believers in the Nation of Islam, Sister Sandra and Brother Sylvester Muhammad, the value of family and nation building was instilled in her at an early age. Mayyada has always knew Allah would use her to serve her nation. She never could have imagined where his road would lead her. At the age of 9, her mother was diagnosed with lupus, which piqued her interest in medicine and ultimately led Dr. Mayyada to pursue a career in medicine. While studying forensic science at Albany State University, she learned about the Cuban Medical Scholarship Program after reading an article in the Final Call newspaper. Mayyada saw this as the perfect opportunity to study medicine, live abroad, and learn a second language. By Allah's grace, Dr. Mayyada was accepted into the Latin School, American School of Medicine, where she would receive an excellent medical education, but more importantly, acquire the skills required to address the biological, psychological, and social detriments of health. Mayyada began her studies in March of 2006. Shortly after beginning her studies, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan visited the medical school along with his delegation. Allah confirmed she was on the straight path. The minister held her hand and told her she could do it. Just stay the course no matter how tough it gets. These words inspired and continue to inspire Dr. Mayyada for the next 6 years. Dr. Mayyada graduated from medical school in July of 2013 and completed her residency training at Morehouse School of Medicine for Family Medicine in June of 2019. She is currently practicing internal medicine with Kaiser Permanente. Dr. Mayyada is a wife, mother, and community advocate. She's a member of several associations, including the American Academy of Family Physicians, the Georgia Academy of Family Physicians, the Society of Teachers of Family Medicine, Doctors for Global Health, and the American College of Preventive Medicine. She believes everyone has the right to quality health care and education. Dr. Mayyada's future endeavors include completing a fellowship in integrative medicine and opening a specialized stem cell integrative medicine clinic. Ultimately, she would like to work closely with other physicians and healthcare providers within our nation to open the first NOI hospital. Let's give a warm welcome to Dr. Mayyada.
All praises are due to Allah. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah and that Muhammad is his messenger. And I'd like to greet you all in the greeting words of peace and paradise. Assalamu alaikum. And I thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this distinguished panel. It's really an honor and a privilege. So on today, I really wanted to just speak with you about first the requirements for the enrollment into the Cuban Medical Scholarship Program. Also, what is required of you once you complete the scholarship program in Cuba for you to be able to practice medicine here in the United States. And then also advice to students who would like to study abroad, just giving you some advice on things that you can do and things you need to do when you want to begin studying abroad. So first and foremost, I just want to give you a little bit of background information on the Cuban Scholarship Program. So the Cuban Medical School was actually established in 1999, and it was established after there were hurricanes that really devastated Central and South America, Haiti, and also the Dominican Republic. And this was in 1998. So the Cuban government, as many know, they provide healthcare to the world. And they normally send their doctors that's been trained in Cuba out to other countries in order to provide healthcare. However, at this point, they decided that it would be better if they trained doctors in Cuba that come from those countries and allow those doctors to go back to their own country where they would have a permanent residence and provide health care to their own countries and their own people. And so that is basically how the scholarship, the medical school was established. Now, in 2000, it was Fidel Castro. He met with a delegation from the Congressional Black Caucus, and they came together and they had a conversation about how here in the United States, there's so many people who don't have access to health care. There's so many health disparities that exist throughout the United States. And so Fidel Castro at that time extended the scholarships that were initially for more so the third world to the United States as well, to have students to come and to study in Cuba, to become doctors and go back to underserved communities where they could provide health care to their communities, okay? So that's pretty much how it was established, and then how American students were able to start taking advantage of the scholarships. So in the year 2001, we had the first medical students to begin matriculating into Cuba and to start actually studying medicine in Cuba. I'm going to try to share my screen. I haven't done this before, so we'll see. Okay. Can bring it up. So, let's set the top.
There you go. Good job.
So when it comes to, yes, ma'am. So when it comes to requirements for the medical school, so the first thing, they want you to be a U.S. citizen with a U.S. passport and between the ages of 18 and 25 at the time of matriculation. So there are some exceptions. If you're over the age of 25 and you do decide that you want to go to Cuba to study medicine, then you just have to speak with IFCO Pastors for Peace, which is actually the organization that the scholarships are provided through, and see if you actually are able to go ahead and begin your studies even though you're over the age of 25. So there are some special cases. Now, this is a really important part. You do not necessarily have to complete 4 years of college prior to going to Cuba. However, it's important that you do complete at least 1 year of biology with lab, 1 year of chemistry with lab, 1 year of organic chemistry with lab, and 1 year of physics with lab. And as long as you have completed those courses with either a B or greater, then you will be considered for the scholarship. They also require you to interview. The interviews normally take place in New York. So you'll go there for an interview. You'll also have to submit letters of recommendation. You have to have a personal statement that basically speaks to why it is that you want to become a doctor, and also your interest in going back to your community and serving your community through medicine. And once they review your application, get a chance to interview you, then they'll decide on whether or not you are able to actually begin your matriculation into the medical school program. Now, as far as after you complete medical school, so once you complete your medical training in Cuba, you do go on to start the process to begin to study and continue your medical education in the United States. So for doctors, once you get your MD, your medical doctor degree, you have to go on to do something called medical residency training. And in order for you to do that, it's important for you to complete a series of exams called the United States Medical Licensing Exams. A lot of times we call them step 1, step 2, and step 3. So while you're in medical school in Cuba, you will start the process of studying for these exams and begin to complete these exams while you are still there studying. And you have to complete at least step 1 and step 2 in order to apply to a medical residency program, which is basically postgraduate medical education for doctors. And that process, normally you will start that process while you're in medical school. And then once you graduate from medical school, based on how well you did on those exams and you applying to different residency programs, then you will begin your residency training. And so for me, I did my training at Morehouse School of Medicine. And I trained in family medicine. But of course, depending on what specialty you want to go into, that would determine which residency you would go into. And so I do encourage you, if you do decide that you want to go into medicine, it's very important that you start ahead of time deciding on what specialty you would like to go into, whether you want to become a family practitioner, you want to go into internal medicine, go into surgery, OBGYN. That is very important because that'll determine which residency program that you will go into and what you apply to and the specific requirements for each specialty. Now, overall, I will say that the program for me, it was really a great blessing for me to be able to go to Cuba and to study medicine. I just had such a wonderful experience there. I had the opportunity to meet so many people. The school itself is very diverse. The students that are there at the medical school on campus, you get a chance to meet students from over 124 nations. And it gives you the opportunity, like Dr. Tony was saying, to be able to network with so many people, but you get to really network on an international level. So any people that you met while you were there in school, those are connections that you make for a lifetime, and you can always go back to them for whatever it is that you need as you continue to advance your medical career. Now, when it comes to being able to, after you complete the program so when you decide that you are going to study abroad, I feel that it's very important that you have the opportunity to actually go to whatever country it is that you decide that you want to go to study just ahead of time, so you can get an idea of exactly what that environment would be like. I know some people hear of culture shock. Someone goes somewhere, never been there before, and they're just like, wow, this is so much different than what I'm accustomed to. And so that's why I think that it's very important for you to be able to go ahead of time, if possible, and just see the environment. Because for some of the students who I did go to medical school with, or they were there for just a couple of months, and it felt like it wasn't for them because they were pretty much culture shocked. But if they had got a chance to go ahead of time and just see the environment, I think that they could have prepared better for the environment they would have been in. It's also very important, for you to try to get a chance to have mentors that you can connect with who have studied abroad. They can also give you very important information on what that experience will be like and what it is that you can expect as you continue your medical education, okay? I also believe it's very important for you to get an opportunity to take on the culture and really experience the culture of whatever country that you're going to, or the people that are there. Get a chance to really enjoy the culture, learn the culture, so that you can come back and you can share that with your colleagues and people here in the United States. And then also you want to get the opportunity to share your culture with others and allow them to get a chance to really know who you are and where you come from, so that they can learn more about your culture. So I'm sorry, I have my little one with me, you have to excuse me. That's pretty much my presentation for today. All of the information that I shared with you can be found on the IFCO Passage for Peace website. It's called ifconews.org. And I will say that when it comes to the requirements, IFCO are they like for you to know that you really have met all of the requirements before they give you an application. So before you begin to reach out to IFCO, I encourage you to go to the website and really look over the different criteria for the application, and then make sure that you meet those, so that they will actually send you out an application, because they won't give you the application unless you've met those specific requirements. So that's my presentation for today. I thank you, and I leave you as I came before you in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Praise be to Allah. Praise be to Allah.
Thank you, Dr. Mayyada. You have been a divine inspiration, and we are so proud that you stayed the course. You are one of the hundreds of Muslim doctors that we have, and can say that you are going to be a true servant of the art of healing. So thank you.
Praise be to Allah. And I think the beauty of it all is to have watched Sister Mayyada grow from 4 or 5 years old, from her mother's womb, to the beautiful mother and daughter that she has become. And I think that, your mother and your father, we can never thank them enough for what they have deposited in all of their children, specifically you today, but all of your siblings who are in fact believers in the Nation of Islam. So that's really the reward that we can share today from Sister Mayyada and her family.